Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CDL podcast channel. In today's episode, we are going to be going over some brief news. We did have a couple roster changes. One that we talked about already got officially announced, and then the big Standy news got announced. We also got a couple changes into ranked. There's a new map in ranked play right now. Brock and I are going to discuss our thoughts on that. Treyarch giving a little slight diss to Infinity Ward on Reddit, and then we're going to get back to our pick'ems. Excited to get back to those. I got the 2-1 lead so far in majors on Brock, so I can put him away and officially win the pick'ems, or Brock can stay alive to try to hit the reverse sweep on me for the season. So I'm sure you guys are rooting for Brock out there so we can keep it intense. But going to be a short and sweet episode today. Talk about that brief news and then dive into pick'ems as Brock and I are headed to the Minnesota home series this weekend. So that's going to be super fun. Looking forward to getting into that. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Drop a follow, drop a 5-star review on the audio platforms. And let's get into it. Brock, I noticed today also, before I ask you how you're doing, I noticed that I think this is either episode 29 or 30, somewhere around there for Brock. He's close to like 25 to 30, somewhere in there episodes. So in the comments, give a shout out to Brock. But Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, doing very well on this Monday. Mondays are not bad for me when I go to work, so I gotta say. And I'm also really excited for this thing in Madison with the Minnesota Rocker event happening.
It's gonna be a fun time. We don't, I mean, at least to my knowledge, no like major Call of Duty event has ever been held in Wisconsin. And if it was, it had to be like Ghosts or earlier, because like if it was like AW on, I would have 100% known about it and gone. Like if it was like AW and I was a young kid, I would have convinced my parents to somehow pay for me to go. To my knowledge, there's never been like, there's like locals and stuff obviously, but there's never been like a major event. And we always talked about like, I mean, shoot, we always talk about if it goes to like Chicago, we'd be there, no doubt, because that's pretty close in comparison to what most events are.
Yeah, definitely.
But now, I mean, it's in Madison. It's about an hour and a half-ish drive. My college roommate lives down in Madison, so we're going to meet up with him. He's also pretty big COD fan, so we're going to meet up with him, go hang out. Got a couple of our other friends coming along. There's going to be a nice big group of us headed down to Madison to watch those matches. So I'm really looking forward to that, because even though it's just regular season matches against some crappy teams, it's still LAN. Chance is going to be there announcing. It's just still fun to go hang out and watch COD.
100%.
On a nice Saturday when it's going to be cold outside anyways.
Yeah, facts. Excited to see my boy Arcitys.
Yeah. Me too. I'm excited to see all those boys play. Interested to see if Minnesota does announce a roster change. They still haven't up to this point, despite going 0-6. But let's dive into the roster changes. We did hear, we don't have to talk too much about Yuli filling in for London, because we kind of already talked about that last week. But in between the last two podcasts, it was like actually officially announced that he's joining, so that'll be a nice thing to watch. We talked about it last week, but like quickly to summarize my thoughts on that, I like the move because Paul on a sub just wasn't it, just not a role that fits him. Yuli could have a lot of potential to bring some extra slaying. The young gun, hopefully he can be pretty good. And London against OpTic and in general last stage, they showed flashes, so maybe adding a player with a higher ceiling could raise them up to be a little more consistent. Maybe they can fight for like a top 8 spot, maybe fight for a top 6 at the major. I'm intrigued by them. I don't think it can get much worse than it was, and they showed promise. So I'm excited to see if they can, become a little more competitive in this split here and give themselves at least a puncher's chance to stay alive and try to make champs in Major 5.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
They got a long uphill battle.
They have to eventually win out.
Yeah.
And I'm always rooting for it. Asim, that's for sure.
Yeah, I like Asim a lot too. I also like, I don't know, I've grown to be a fan of Nasty. He seems like a pretty quiet player. He's not very vocal on social media or content or anything, but he always he's just a good, solid player that I feel like just hasn't gotten the best team opportunities so far.
Yeah, I agree.
He's definitely a good player. And Scraps, I've always been a Scraps fan. He's on the opposite end of that spectrum. He's also always been a pretty outspoken player, good in content, makes a lot of stream content himself. So I like watching Scraps play well. I want this London team to do well because I like a lot of the players in the team, and I want them to continue having spots in the league going forward.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Then the bigger roster news, the one that we didn't get to talk about at all last week because it wasn't done. Standy got bought out by Toronto Ultra. I'm assuming they were maybe trying to find a trade partner and didn't have anybody willing to pay the buyout with kind of the state of esports right now, and people maybe trying to save a little money. But Standy got bought out by Ultra and pretty quickly joined Vegas in place of Two Real. Definitely was one of the spots that when he was dropped, I was thinking he could potentially go, but he did kind of mention that he had multiple offers on the table. I would tend to think that maybe Minnesota was one of them to go back there.
Yeah, potentially like a reunion.
Which, like, even if any other team offered him, isn't it wild that like somebody would choose the Legion
You know,
over
it's
another
never
team,
been
no matter
happened
who the other
before.
team was?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's like never been a thing. Usually, if it was like, Legion was your last resort, and if anybody else offered you, you're taking that offer. But oddly enough, Legion are one of the teams that are fighting for a playoff spot that are in the best position.
Yeah.
Have one of the of the teams fighting for the ace seed. They're probably in the second best position behind Minnesota, who has the lead. Thoughts on this move? Are they going to improve overall? We'll start with that.
I would hope so. They improve because Stan is just a better overall player, I think, than Turiel. No offense to Turiel though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in my opinion, I really like this move because it's kind of the aches theory. You always have to pack a punch when you can, and I've always like it was a controversy. The thing I always talk about when pack punching, and I always think about, is World War II with Rise when they won the event with Methods and he won MVP, and they dropped him.
Yeah.
For Slasher, because like at the time, Slasher was one of the best ARs in the game, and overall in general, Slasher has always been considered a better player than Methods, and that's no knock on Methods because he's also a very good main AR, but Slasher was always considered the better player. And Rise dropped Methods after winning an MVP of an event and winning an event for Slasher, and they go on to everybody knows they go on to win multiple events with Slasher that year. Have a very successful year, almost three-peat. And we kind of know how that story goes for Rise. Like, it was a classic situation of they won the event and the dude they dropped won MVP, but they knew there was a better option out there for long term, so they went for it. And I kind of like that theory, and it's a little different here, obviously, because Vegas isn't coming off an event win, but they're coming off their best showing of the year. And like you said, Standy, better player than Turiel. They said, you know what? Even though we just had our best showing, we got to upgrade when we get the chance.
Yep.
That's the reason I like this move. I think that Standy has a higher ceiling, especially slaying wise. I think there's a chance that Standy can be like a superstar SMG that could drop a 1.15, or a 1.2, or have that series where he drops a 1.4 to carry you through a series.
Yep.
I feel like before they didn't have one of those. Like TJ can be good. Yeah, TJ can be good. Turiel can be good, but now I feel like TJ can more play his dirty work role while Standy kind of goes around, does the slaying, and then you got Temp and Clay who also have very high upside. Like, the team's upside just got a lot higher to me. Like, I feel like they can keep up slaying wise with more teams, and I don't think Standy's a downgrade in search either. So I overall think this is going to be a great upgrade.
Definitely, the Las Vegas Legion are turning the tide.
Yeah, this gives me more faith they have a chance to make champs, obviously, unless this throws out the chemistry. But the Prelude to Real change didn't seem to throw off the chemistry, so I don't see how this would. And like we talked about, I'd have to go back through the schedule, but I believe like the schedule for Vegas is very, very favorable in their online matches. I think I saw like a tweet, I don't remember who it's from, but it did show that like coming up here, Vegas have the easiest schedule based on like power rankings. They get Boston, and then so Boston's like their tough match. Then they get London, LAG, Ultra, who is a tough match, in Florida. But they get to play Florida, LAG, and London, who are the bottom three in the standings. And then Boston and Ultra, so like a very realistic chance to go 3-2, which would be winner's bracket.
Yeah, 100%.
So interesting that Vegas making a big play.
Yes, I first, when they picked up Standy, I thought it was going to be for TJ.
Did you? I just thought like with Donnie and TJ's friendship, it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know. Some had me thinking I was for TJ, and then I was going to be really sad, but then it's not TJ.
Yeah, I mean, would you have, if you were on the team or you were like a GM of the team, would you have picked Turiel to be the guy that got dropped?
Yeah, knowing what I know, yeah.
Yeah, I would do the same because I feel like both Tej and Turiel tend to struggle in respawn sometimes to slay consistently. But like, if it comes down to a game 5 on LAN and I'm playing a good team and search and destroy, who do I want on my team? Turiel or TJ? Honestly, in a game 5, there's not a lot of players I'm choosing over TJ, not even just like the Legion guys.
Yeah.
TJ's a very good search and destroy player.
He's so good.
Like, there's not a lot of guys I'm choosing in general on any team in the league in a game 5 over TJ. So that's like the way I look at it, is like they're both going to give you probably average to below average respawn games with the occasional pop off. But TJ's a lot better in search, so I'd keep TJ as well.
Yep.
We can talk about two real quick though. Thoughts on his future, because I feel like after last year, I thought he'd never get another chance in the league because he had a really rough stint on Florida. But like, I think that for his stock, despite the fact that he did get moved to the bench or dropped, whatever you want to call it, I feel like it didn't actually hurt his stock that much, because I feel like his stock was as low as it could go last year, and then all of a sudden now this year he comes in. He doesn't play amazing, but plays pretty solid, and I feel like people have a completely different opinion about him. I think his stock actually was helped a lot in this little stint with Vegas.
Oh, I 100% his stock was helped. I probably not this year, but when I win a challenger event, just like the Boston major, those 4 people got picked up. Never know, someone could pick him up next year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when he was picked up this year, I like couldn't believe my eyes that he was picked up, and I had really like kind of negative thoughts about him. But now, like after he gets picked up, or after he gets dropped now, like next year, if he gets signed to a team, I'm probably still not going to like absolutely love it, because I don't know that he's like an amazing player, but I'm not going to be like baffled. I'll be like, yeah, he showed some good promise on that Vegas team. I can see if he gets in the right team. Like, I'm not going to be shocked. So shout out to Dureal, because I do think his future is much brighter than I would have thought. If you told me after a major or two he's going to get dropped or benched, I would have thought, ooh, he had another rough stint and he's done in the CDL. But actually, somehow, despite the fact getting benched, he did improve his stock.
Yeah, he did. Maybe he also could get picked up as a sub for a team too.
Yeah, and also like if expansion ever happens, who knows if it ever will. Like if it's by 4 teams like you would expect, if it goes to 16, I'm sure one of those 4 expansion teams would not mind adding him as a foundational sub to start their team, because he is a solid player.
Yeah, he's one of the top challenger players.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Speaking of Standy, he got into it on Twitter with Scrappy. Sure, most of you guys that are watching this saw that. I'm gonna find the little thread here. I'll just go to Scrappy's page and go through that thread a little bit. It was a funny one.
Scrappy do.
Scrappy's always going at people. I think the tweets might have gotten deleted. I gotta go back. I got a screenshot of like part of it. But I think they might have gotten deleted.
No.
See, does Standy have them up? There's like a screenshot of part of the conversation. Trying to see if Standy still has them up or not. Oh boy. He might have deleted them too. Yep, they're gone. Unfortunate, I can't read the whole conversation, but I can read the part of the screenshot that was there. It's basically like Ultra posted their like vision type series. I don't know what it is, or the process. I can't remember what theirs is called. And I guess maybe it was like, yeah, I think you're right. But I haven't watched it yet. I haven't had a chance. But it sounds like maybe Standy was getting cooked for something in practice, and he basically commented like, taking notes, my bad for wanting to try an S&D practice. And then Scrappy took a screenshot of a play. I can't really tell much from the play because I don't know what he's referencing, but like it's basically a screenshot of the minimap, and I don't know which number Standy is. So it's a little tough to tell, but Standy replies and said, I made a bad play and I held myself accountable, man. I just wanted us to try that one day. And then Scrappy basically said, I don't care anymore. Everything you say is to make you look like the good person this whole time. You got dropped because you were the most selfish player, not because I have a good connection with Charlie. Yeah, Scrappy pretty upset, got upset at Standy. I remember the conversation going on a little bit before they deleted it. Where Scrappy was saying like, we literally were up 100 on Florida on a map, and you lagged out, and we lagged out, and you're like, I'm glad that map ended because I was getting destroyed or something. Like basically trying to make Standy out to a selfish player, and he said like, dude, I was joking, just trying to lighten the mood in that situation. Yeah. So like, seems like maybe a little bit of misunderstanding and just some general bad blood where they're upset with each other, and we know Scrap's got the passion. He's not scared to go at someone.
Definitely.
So those two going at it, it'll be interesting to see a matchup because they do match up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's this weekend, but later on in the qualifiers here, we do get an Ultra versus Legion matchup. So very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, April 14th.
Yeah, so a little later, but I'm sure it'll be a good one. There'll be some screaming. I wish it was on LAN so we could see them yell at each other, but
I hope they play on LAN.
That would, I mean, you never know. I could see like Vegas getting like a 7 seed and Ultra getting like a 2 seed for the LAN.
Yeah, I want to see some body shots. The
There
whole
definitely would be.
nine.
There definitely would be. Two more things again to do before we do pick'ems. First, the Himmel Hat Expo or whatever it's called. I just call it Expo is in ranked play for S&D and Control. I think we're probably pretty in line with each other on this one. It's interesting, I
It's
guess,
there.
is a word you could use for it. S&D on it, I guess I'd rather play just because I just like S&D in general a little more. Like I'd rather play S&D than Control, but it's not very good. And Control, it's pretty awful. The
Yeah.
one thing I'd say is like, is it as bad as Fortress? I don't know. They both are just so bad that it's not even worth comparing them, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I will say the fact that we're not saying it's a shoe-in replacement for Fortress Control should tell you all you need to know. It means it
Yeah.
also sucks because almost anything could be better than Fortress. I'm not gonna like sit here and say like Fortress has to stay, but like, would someone understand if they keep it? As bad as that sounds, and how much I've complained about it, because like Expo really sucks. It's just
Not
like
really
too
better.
big and like confusing. It's just like it's just not a good competitive map. It's way too big.
Yeah, it's way too big. And what B control? There's like 26,000 doors you have to look through.
Yeah,
I don't know where to look.
and like if you're running up, like let's say like you run up to A, and like you said, let's say on Control you send like 2A 2B, just like a standard split. You send 2A 2B. If the two guys on B die, it's an insta cap because you cannot run over from A to there because it's so far away.
Mhm.
Like it's literally a guaranteed cap. The points are just too spread. The map's too big. It's just not very good.
Yeah, it's like
S&D,
a
I guess you can make a little bit more out of it because S&D is just easier in general for maps to work on.
yeah, it's like a ground war map. Too
Yeah,
big.
but S&D in general is just easier to make work because more maps will work for it. But yeah, it definitely shouldn't replace anything in S&D because I don't think there's any S&D maps that are absolutely horrendous. I mean, Fortress S&D is pretty bad, but Fortress Control is definitely the biggest problem mode right now.
Mhm.
So that I guess it could replace. But yeah, overall, just not a great map.
Not a great map, but
Yeah.
I like to see that they added it just to see how it like would play.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort, but better luck next time.
Yeah, new map, please.
Just give me some old MW2 maps, MW3. Give me some Ghost maps. Give me Strike Zone. Give me something like that.
Something.
All right. Then our last piece of news: Treyarch. Sure, you and I were talking about this before the podcast, but don't know if you guys saw their response to a Reddit post. I don't know if they were doing like an Ask Me Anything or just like in general responding to stuff on Reddit. Not exactly sure what it was, but somebody on their Reddit said, please add Deady, meaning Dead Silence, as a perk. And Treyarch responded and said, just to set expectations for this kind of request and others like it, we're ultimately not responsible for core gameplay mechanics in Modern Warfare 2. This kind of feedback is better shared with Infinity Ward for multiplayer. So basically, it sounds like they're saying, like, yeah, we kind of know Infinity Ward is stupid, but we can't do anything about it. Like,
Yeah.
They're responsible for these core gameplay mechanics, so you got to ask them. Treyarch is probably sitting there thinking, like, yeah, no kidding. We would definitely have Deady as a perk if we were making the game, because Treyarch is by far the best developer. If you want to argue against that, argue with a wall, because the last good title that Infinity Ward made is probably Ghost, and even that isn't the greatest game. Maybe IW if you want to argue it, but kind of jetpacks and Sledgehammer's only games they made are AW, World War II, and Vanguard. So Treyarch is by far the best developer there is. I mean, all the Black Ops games are pretty much incredible.
Yeah.
So Treyarch, definitely the best developer, kind of roasted Infinity Ward there. I thought that was kind of funny. And I did see the Ghost of Hope say something about like Black Ops 2024 or whatever is going to like blow your mind. It's going to be such a good game. So excited for that.
Yeah. I'm just sick against Soundtor 99 awareness E sound EQ on.
Yeah, just so loud. Like just this game still, I mean, it's not the greatest game, but like that goes for almost any COD ever. Like if there's overly loud footsteps like there are in this game, like if you just add dead sounds as a perk, it would make the game 10 times better.
100%.
Like, you're playing against a guy who just may not have the best awareness, but he instantly does because he can just hear you. Like spawns are extremely hard to read in this game, but they're not that hard to read when like somebody spawns behind you and you just hear him clomping. You're like, oh well, There he is. He's behind us. Like you can just know where people are based on sound. I agree. I couldn't agree with Slasher more on this. I've always thought like sound cues are the dumbest thing. I was the like absolute biggest hater, and I gassed Treyarch, but I'm gonna roast him here. I was the biggest hater of like the grunt when you mantled in Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was remember like I always remember on Checkmate when people like in Search and Destroy jumped up in the plane and they made like the loud grunting noise and then you always knew where they were. I hated that. I thought it was so dumb. I just have always thought sound cues are just a bad bailout. Like I guess maybe like when you pull out a nade, sure it can make a noise. Obviously when you shoot, but like people just like grunting or like you can hear their footsteps loud and clear, I think is so dumb.
Yeah. I just need Daddy.
Yeah. It just makes the game way more competitive too.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for pick'ems?
Yes.
Okay, so we got our pick'ems ready to go. Back to the normal schedule. As an update on the point standings, so we had a weird point system for Major 1. Didn't end up mattering though. I ended up winning that one, so I was up 1-0. Then in Major 2, I had by far the best score that either of us have had, and it hasn't really been close to being matched by either of us since. I don't know what I was on there in Major 2, but I was on fire in my picks. Basically the way we do it for those of you that are just tuning in is we pick the match, pick the map count, and then put a amount of points on it. So we can either put 1 point on it or 2 points on it, or we get one match a week that we can put 4 points on. If you get it right, you get that amount of points that you wagered on it, and then if you get the map count right, that's a bonus point. If you get it wrong, you just get minus however many points you put on it. So we go through like that. The first major I won. Second major I won. That was where I had 22 points over the 3 weeks. Then in Major 3, Brock, you set the second place record with 10. Beat me 10-3 for your little comeback trail to start. So now you're down 2-1. Only 5 majors in the year, so you gotta hit the reverse sweep on me. All I have to do is just close out 1 major. So let's dive into it.
I've been down before.
Technically, I would say, does that mean I get to have like the veto for the 4 point this week? Technically, since you're kind of the defending champ.
Yeah,
I think that's how it would probably work. And you also did, I believe, yeah, you won the last week as well of Major 3 on top of also winning the whole stage as a whole. So let's dive into it. First day of matches, Friday, Boston versus Vegas. A lot of good matches this week. This is one of those that it's intriguing because get to see a Boston team coming off a nice 4th place finish in a new look Vegas.
You look hungry, Vegas, 9th place in the standings.
Need a lot of wins. To get one versus Boston would be massive because then they get to play the 3 bottom teams after having 1 win. They just would have to go 2-1 against the bottom 3 teams in order to make winners bracket guaranteed.
That'd be a good win versus Boston. I will 3-2 Las Vegas.
You're going Vegas.
2 points.
All right. So you got Vegas 3-2. I want to like go bold as much as possible in this. I don't know why I was just like feeling bold today for my picks. I really feel like I should probably go opposite of you because it's probably a good opportunity to make up points because I would say Boston's probably the favorite in this series.
Yeah.
But there is also something about always like when a team has a new roster and they haven't played yet, it always seems like that first match they do come out really strong. Especially in a situation where like they're playing a team like Boston who isn't like the most dominant team. It's not like they're playing like Faze or something right away. They're just hitting a buzzsaw. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to do the same map count. I'm only going to put 1 point though. I'm going to say Vegas get a 3-2. Only putting 1 point on it, but I do want to keep my faith in Vegas. Last time we saw Standy's debut in the CDL for a new team. That was Minnesota, and remember he smoked OpTic in Cold War. Hopefully he brings some of that magic again. He comes out motivated and hasn't lost a step. Hopefully he's been grinding.
Oh, he's been grinding. Pretty sure. I think he's like top 20.
Yeah.
So in the rank.
Yeah. London versus LAT Brock is the second match. Another case of a new player get to see his first match. This one being his first match in the CDL, not just first match with London.
Yuli versus the LAT boys. Man. LAT's so hard to predict. Screw it. 3-2 London. 2
Damn you! I really
points.
want to pick London in this series as well. With the unknown commodity, Thieves kind of they out like the troll online.
I know.
Probably against a London team, they might come out a little flat. You go in London, what 3-2? You said?
Yeah, 32. I'll put just the 1.2, I guess.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go opposite of you this time. Even though I really wanted to pick London, I won't go too bold. Although I definitely can see London winning. I'm gonna say LAT win at 3-1. I'm just gonna put one on it as well. Um, Damn, I really like the London pick though because I was kind of thinking like Yuli, he's gonna come out the fire. Maybe he has a big series. Um, LAT for the top teams or like the teams that we consider to be our top teams and good teams, like they're probably the best team to play in a debut because
Yeah.
they tend to maybe not care as much online. Maybe like they have said and admitted they need a little extra motivation to play online matches. It's not the worst team to start out against in terms of top teams. Maybe they aren't going to be fully locked in, so not a bad way to start if you're Yuli. But I will go LAT 3-1. I do think they're the clear better team. It's just a matter of if they can get up for this match or not. Because I'll agree with you. I think London has a very good chance to pull off an upset here.
Yeah. Also LAT's probably thinking, oh, it's just London.
Yeah, exactly. They might be overlooking because I don't remember who they play. Yeah, they play Seattle in their second match. So obviously the team that you'd probably consider to be stronger. So they might be overlooking, thinking about how they got to play Pred the next day.
Yeah.
They might overlook that boy Yuli.
We'll see. Just have to wait and see.
All right. Then we got what used to be a matchup of like our number 1 and 2 teams, but maybe not so much anymore with the way NYSLs look lately. We got Atlanta versus NYSL. And is this one of the wager matches? I don't remember. Oh no, it's not. The wager matches don't start until April 7th. Not one of the wager matches. There's no wager match this week at all, but we've got Faze versus Subliners. Pretty darn good match. You think Subliners bounce back or you rocking with Atlanta?
Atlanta Faze 3-1. I'll put 2 points.
Okay. Atlanta 3-1, 2 points. I hate to say it, but I'm going to agree with you again. I'm doing the exact same thing you just did. Atlanta 3-1,
So
2
hard.
points.
They're just so consistently good.
I say it every time. I almost never pick against them because why would you? They win 80% or more of their matches every year.
And
So
myself just like,
yeah. I mean, basic math tells you pick Atlanta every time you're going to come out ahead.
yeah.
Also, yeah, NYSL kind of in shambles right now. Hard to have faith in them with the way they've looked since Major 1.
Struggling. Maybe they need a little break from the game, go play some Valve for a day or two, and then regroup.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
what's
think I
going
like
on
them
with
to
them.
maybe. Yeah, I have no idea. I think I like them to maybe take a respawn though. Map 2 or 3, or excuse me, map 1 or 3.
Yeah, they ain't taking a surge.
No, they're not taking a search. I'd like them to maybe. I wouldn't be surprised though if they came out and took the opening hardpoint.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta isn't the best hardpoint team for whatever reason. Shockingly, they don't close out a ton of their hardpoints. So like, I can see a world where this goes game 5 too if it's like a Neslo from Faze. I could see New York taking them out in 2 hardpoints because regardless of how they're playing, New York still does have very high upside in respawns.
Yeah, still got talented players, just not working at the moment.
Yeah, and I also wouldn't be shocked if New York flips a switch and all of a sudden they're top 3 team again. I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Yeah.
Moving on to Saturday, a day both of us are excited for because, like we mentioned earlier, we'll be there in attendance for both of those Minnesota matches in Wisconsin here. So I'm excited for that. I feel like I almost have to pick Minnesota since I'll be in attendance at their home. Minnesota versus Florida on LAN. Chance announcing in the venue. We'll be there. Maybe cheering for Minnesota. I don't know if you'll be cheering for Minnesota in that second match.
Definitely
maybe
not
in
the
this first
second
match we
match.
will be. If Dave Patty was playing, you might be cheering against them both matches. But we got Minnesota versus Florida. You gonna go with the hometown team, or I guess the home region team we're going to watch? Minnesota, or are you taking Florida?
I'll go with Minnesota. 3-0.
3-0, a hot 3-0. You think they're actually gonna win? I guess Florida's not the greatest map 1 team either. But what'd you put on that? 1, 2, 4?
I'll put one.
You know what? I said I wanted to go. Want to go Minnesota because they're the home squad, but I might go opposite of you for the fun of it and pick Florida in a 3-1 fashion. I think Florida is going to take maps 1, 2, and 4. I think Minnesota gets the control. Only going to put 1 point on it. Much as I don't want to pick against the hometown team, I want to make us have some opposite picks. And I when I did initially see this matchup before, I remembered it was going to be on land, and I was going to be there wanting to cheer for Minnesota. I initially thought Florida, so going with my gut, taking Florida, and let's move it on to Boston versus Toronto. Pretty darn good matchup. Rematch of what we saw on land, where Toronto kind of smoked them, if I remember correctly, at the major.
Yes.
To send them to losers.
Yeah. Beans versus Scrappy.
Yeah, rematch of that. Think Boston get their revenge, or you think Toronto's going to handle them again?
I think Toronto will be okay and win the series 3-2, actually.
Toronto 3-2. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put 2 points.
I'm actually going to agree with you on the team, but I'm going to go bold. I'm going to say Toronto gets a 3-0. I really liked what I saw. I'm going to put 2 points in Toronto because I do have faith in them winning, but I really liked what I saw out of Toronto when they played Boston at the major. I really thought they looked like they were just outclassing them, and that could be different online, in the whole environment, but I really like what I saw of this Toronto team, and I do feel like they're very good at hardpoint, and they're very good at control. I feel like they're going to get up 1-0, and then if they do close out that search and destroy, I think they have a pretty good chance then to close out because they're arguably the best control team or one of the best control teams in the game. I'm just scared of the S&D. I can definitely see this being like a 3-1 where Boston's able to take the search and then Toronto closes them out with 3 respawn victories. But I'm going to go bold and say Toronto takes the search and then closes it out 3-0.
Yeah. And they get the Bell Fiber.
Bell Fiber's back. Yeah, that's true. All right, Brock. Your boys. You'll be in attendance to watch your boys, LAG.
Oh, man.
Take on Minnesota. You going to go with the hometown or the home team in that event there in Minnesota? Or are you going to take your LAG boys?
I'll take LAG all the way. 3-0.
3-0. Are you going to put the 4 points on it just so you can be there?
I'll put the 4, yeah. I'll just do it.
We're going to add up. At the end of the year, we're going to add up the tally of the amount of points you lost on LAG.
I never
lost. Because I'm going to take Minnesota 3-2. Not going to be as bold. I'm only going to put 1 on it. I don't believe in them that much. But Minnesota 3-2. I can't pick against them twice when I'm going there to watch them. Since they came to Wisconsin, I got to respect it. Since they're pulling up to our homeland, I got to respect it that they came here. Taking them 3-2, putting 1 point on it. But I knew you were going to take LAG and put a ton on them.
I gotta.
You got the LAG clothes ready on deck?
No, I don't got no LAG clothes, unfortunately.
Like you should find a way to, like that one dude did where he showed up in the standard CDL operator. I think you should find a way to get like the LAG operator and you should show up in it.
I'll wear a white plain t-shirt with Arcitys on the back.
I would love to see it. Just screen print Arcitys onto a shirt.
Literally. I had to
I'd love to see it. All right, Brock. LAT Seattle. Final match of the day. Arguably, maybe the best match of this weekend. It's up there. It's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to.
It could be a very good match or a stinker.
Yeah. I got a lot of faith in Seattle, though. I'm going to say Seattle wins this 3-1. I don't know what map they drop, but I think they drop 1. And I'm putting 2 points on it. I feel pretty good. I've always had a lot of faith in Seattle because I have a lot of faith in Sib and Pred. So I'm taking Seattle 3-1, putting 2 on it. I have a feeling you're probably going the same way.
I'll pick LAT here.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised. I thought you would go Seattle here. You got a reason for that?
I'm just thinking they're gonna lose against London, so I don't think they're gonna go 2.
That's fair.
I'll just 3-1, 3-1, 2. So like opposite of you.
All right, that'll be a swing series for us because one of us is gonna have to lose 2 points.
Yeah.
That moves us on to Sunday. We got the typical one of the teams that plays last on Saturday gets the first match on Sunday. I don't know why they do it, but they always do. That team is Seattle. Seattle, I'm definitely going to be watching both Seattle matches very intently. I'm interested to see how they do the Seattle match on that second day. I forgot to mention that. So Minnesota plays Florida, and then there's a break in between where Boston and Toronto play, and then Minnesota plays LAG. I'm assuming they're going to throw on the screen at the venue we're going to be at. They're going to throw on that Boston versus Toronto match in between while you're waiting on the LAG versus Minnesota match to start. But then I'm interested to see how they do LAT versus Seattle. I wonder how long they have the venue rented out. I wonder if we just get kicked out after the Minnesota match or if they're going to throw on the LAT versus Seattle match in there for everybody to just watch.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm very interested to see. either way, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, gonna be there, get to see one of my good friends, my roommate from college. So like, either way, sure we'll go out, grab a nice dinner or something after, or we'll stay to watch the match if it's on. But I'm interested to see how they do that in the venue.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not like the match is happening right there, where normally obviously it'd still be on.
Yeah.
This is just the Minnesota matches, so I'm excited that they have a couple matches, and I'm excited to watch Boston Toronto in the venue. Kind of fun to watch with a bunch of other people. Good atmosphere in there.
100%.
All right, now we can move on to Sunday. Toronto versus Seattle. Can make an argument. This is also the match of the weekend. One I'm very excited to watch. You think the defending champs get it done, or think Seattle gets their revenge because they thought that Toronto took their spot in finals after Faze, shotguns Pred bottom orange and moves on.
Pred's still in my nightmares to this day.
Yeah, Seattle did get their hands on Toronto there. You think they get their hands on them and beat them here? Or you think Toronto defends their championship and goes 2-0 this weekend?
I think Seattle's gonna take it 3-2 in a game 5.
Seattle 3-2 in a game 5. That, you never would have thought you would be saying that just a short time ago. Seattle winning a game 5.
I'll put 1 point.
Yeah, I'm a Seattle guy. I gotta pick Seattle. I'll also go 3-2. And I'll put 2 points on it. Screw it. Let's make it interesting. Let's add a little more points on it. Just the fact that 2 of us pick Seattle to win a game 5 means they're winning minimum 1 search in the series is shocking because remember, just a short month ago, they were the team that quite literally couldn't win a search.
Yeah.
But overall, last stage looked pretty good.
Yeah, Lamar's coming diffy this Major 4.
Think so? Think he's going to drop a 1?
Yeah. Well, 1.04.
It's all in good fun with Lamar. We're probably the biggest Lamar supporters of like anybody that makes content around the CDL. Yeah, it's just like a trend to hate on Lamar and say how bad he is.
What do you like to troll?
Yeah, I mean it's a trend to just say how bad Lamar is, but I think both of us probably have a stronger opinion and support of Lamar than almost any other creators in the scene. We'll hit up Lamar. Let's get Lamar on the podcast. Let's talk to him a little bit as his only supporters in the content game. Let's get Lamar on.
Yeah, come on, Lamar.
Lamar, free invitation to join at any time. All right. London versus OpTic. Seems like it should be a shoe-in match, but we watched these teams play in losers round 1 at the major, and London probably should have won that series. With a roster that we probably believe is worse than their current one, London should have won 3-1, to be honest. They were up like 100 points in that Mercado, and then choked that away. And then they should have won map 5. They were up 3-0. And they were 3 quick rounds, if I remember correctly. They were kind of dominating those 3 rounds. They weren't like close 1v1s. London was rolling them.
Yeah.
Should have won 3-1 and then definitely should have also won 3-2. So maybe a little more interesting than you'd think. And London makes a roster improvement. You think that roster change is enough to propel them and close out the series this time, or you think OpTic gets done?
OpTic's going to win 3-1.
Yeah.
Talent diff. It's unlucky.
Yeah. You said 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 OpTic. And then I'll do 2 points actually.
Texas 3-1, 2 points. Yeah, I agree with you on the team. I just think OpTic's hard to pick against because once again, they're a team that generally wins a majority of their matches over the course of the entire CDL era. They tend to win more matches than they lose. For that reason, I'm also going to go OpTic. I'm going to say 3-2 though. I think we get another game 5, putting 2 points on this one as well. But I think we get another game 5, and I think London makes it very interesting. I think Yuli has a nice debut series, but it's just not enough to put them over the edge. And OpTic gets the win 3-2.
Yep.
Then we go to Florida versus Atlanta.
Jeez.
Could be a blowout, but Florida's scrappy. They could make it interesting, right?
Didn't they play a glass major qualifier? And I'm pretty sure they got freaking smoked.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it was like one of Capsule's first matches.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if I could bait you into picking Florida. I'm definitely picking Atlanta 3-0, and this is where my 4 points are going.
I'll also pick Atlanta.
You taking them 3-0?
I'll give a 1. I'll give Tyler Fellow 1, and Brack.
Putting 2 on it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to say yeah, I'll give him 1, but I didn't pick any other 3-0s besides 1. And there's always at least a few 3-0s. I always say it. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, would I take Atlanta or Florida and almost any hard point? Yeah, I'll take Atlanta. And then I was like, search and destroy, I'd take Atlanta over anyone. And I was like, control, they tend to be amazing at that. I'll take them at that. And then I was like, really? I can only see Florida winning a hard point. And if it's coming down to, am I picking Brack, Fellow,
Epic.
why am I blanking? Havoc and Capsidal, or am I picking Simp, Abezy, Cellium, and Slasher to win a hard point? I'll take the latter. I'll take Faze.
Yeah.
So that's why I went 3-0. But I think there's a world where Florida like sneaks out a search, maybe, or maybe the hard point of Faze comes out a little slow, like they tend to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that's me just being generous and trying to find a way to give them a map.
Yeah. Maybe they take control. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's tough. It's tough.
I mean, you're picking them to win a map against Faze. It's basically a long shot for any of the maps.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Never know. We'll have to get into it and see it. But I don't know. You got anything else? I mean, we're a little shorter on time. There's one thing in the sports world I think we can talk about. I saw Jacob Hale tweeting about it because I guess he's a Ravens fan. I didn't know that. I'm pretty sure he's from the UK. I could be so wrong, but he always talks about how he loves EU teams. I think he's from the UK. I'm not sure. I could be lying, like I said, but I guess he's a Ravens fan. He was tweeting about how sad he was, but that boy Lamar, apparently he requested a trade from the Ravens on March 2nd. He's ready to leave. You're a Falcons fan. I'm a Colts fan. Based on odds, looks like the Falcons are number 2 in odds to get him. The Colts are number 1. I want Lamar so bad. Be so fun to watch.
I know, he's so good. Just the Ravens never give him.
Not only is so good, but he's so fun. Like he is like one of the most electrifying athletes to watch. So fun to watch with the way that he can run, and also obviously for whatever reason people like to hate on him, but he's a very good quarterback. But also like the plays he can make with his legs are electrifying.
Mm-hmm. And he's brought the Ravens teams weren't the best offensively, and he's turned them into a playoff team like almost every year.
I mean, every year he plays, they're a double-digit win team.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lamar, crazy in the sports world. Also, March Madness has been crazy. The Final Four is one that nobody would have predicted.
Literally.
The highest seed left is a 4 seed UConn.
Mm-hmm.
They play a 5 seed Miami. Then the other side's a 5 seed SDSU versus 9 seed Florida Atlantic. 3 teams that have never won a men's basketball championship. And then UConn, who has done it multiple times. But crazy Final Four. Excited to watch that as well.
I think those 3 teams, not UConn, but those 3 had never made a Final Four, so good for them.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's not like it's like especially Miami, like they like when we were real young kids, they were like always like a great football team.
Mm-hmm.
And they've like always been pretty good at football, but I never really thought about them as like a basketball team. Like I don't really remember too much of my lifetime Miami ever being good. I remember San Diego State like a little bit here and there because like they've been around like in the tournament for a while, but they haven't really won any games. And then obviously Florida Atlantic. I honestly don't know if I ever remember watching them in the tournament. I can't remember though. Like
I don't know.
Did T.Y. Hilton go to college there? I can never remember if it's that or like Florida International or something. I can never remember where he went to college. That's like what I always think of. No, he went to Florida International. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, is that like the place that T.Y. Hilton went? But it's not. He went to Florida International, not Florida Atlantic. So never mind. I don't have any ties to want to cheer for them there because I'm a T.Y. Hilton stan. But he did not go there. I had the college mixed up. But yeah, it'd be fun to watch March Madness. Maybe we'll catch some games on Saturday when we're in Madison.
Yeah, honestly, whoever wins, wins. I don't really have a preference.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like Wisconsin's there, but they are in the NIT Final Four, Brock.
I don't care about the NIT.
Wisconsin,
they need a new coach, new style of play. This play is so boring. And
instead of the 1940s basketball.
Yeah, I'm so sick of that.
Yeah, Wisconsin's goal is to beat you 35-33 every game.
Yeah, hard-nosed defense will not follow you, but 30.
Wait till there's 2 seconds of the shot clock to shoot.
Yeah,
I swear, if the Badgers had it their way, there would be no shot clock. They'd just have 3-minute possessions.
Literally,
like you see in high school games here.
They're the NIT, not the actual tournament.
Yeah, that would be the most Wisconsin thing ever, though. People had some expectations for them coming into the season, and not only did they not make the tournament, but then they just randomly win the NIT out of nowhere.
That just icing on the cake.
That'll be an interesting one. But I got nothing else. If you're ready to wrap it up and get the people out of here.
Yeah, I got nothing else either.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We appreciate the support. We're excited to go down to Madison. We can tell you how the crowd is down on that home series and see if maybe other teams in the future can do something like it if it's successful. Typically, whatever the Rocker do has been pretty successful. They built a nice fan base, so I'm expecting it to be a great atmosphere and a great event. Looking forward to going down. Like I said, if you guys enjoyed this one on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week with reactions to the matches and then more predictions for week 2. See you guys in the next one.